Welcome to the Two Girls and a Cup of Wellness podcast. I'm Marie. I'm a nurse practitioner committed to whole health care and helping my patients live vibrantly.
And I'm Chrissy, a yogi, breast cancer thriver, author of For the Love of Jugs, and guide for the mind, body, heart, soul healing. Together, we will empower you with integrative tools and real conversations. So grab your cup and dive into wellness with us.
Today's guest speaker is Christy Morano. She's a nervous system-led healer and teacher who helps people move out of survival mode and into safety, clarity, and embodied self-trust. Her work is rooted in lived experience, not theory, and focuses on helping people regulate their nervous system so real, sustainable change can occur in relationships, health, money, and life.
She is the creator of CIRA, a nervous system reset method, simple, in-the-moment process that teaches people how to interrupt survival responses, rewire patterns, and anchor safety in the body without bypassing, forcing, or overwhelm. Christy's work is calm, honest, and deeply embodied. She teaches that regulation comes first, and that when the body feels safe, aligned action and meaningful change can follow naturally. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. Happy day. It is a very happy day. I could not be more excited for this beautiful guest that we have in front of us. Christy Morano, and she is the founder of the CIRA method, a yogi, an amazing person inside and out. And we are just so happy you are here, Christy.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and to do this with you both. I'm so happy and glad that you're both doing this. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. So before we get started and we've already kind of heard how awesome Christy is in the bio, but before we get started, it was brought to my attention that some people might not know what a yogi is. So I'm going to start there because I feel like, I think most people associate yogi with a yoga person, right? A person who practices yoga. Or Yogi
the Yogi Bear.
Right, or Yogi Bear, which it's going to be, the not the latter. And so when I think about what a yogi really is, it's an embodiment of the practice of yoga, and not just the physical practice of yoga, but the principles, the morals, and you completely express that. You are an embodiment of yoga, as I believe I am as well. And so we can call ourselves yogis. And Christy has just, through, I think, your own experience in life and just what has been presented to you, has taken it a step further in understanding ways that we can support ourselves in growth, in grounding, not just on the mat, but off the mat. So before we get started, can you share with us a little bit about you? What brought you to this moment today, whatever you feel safe sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised in England, in case you couldn't tell by the accent, and for all those wondering where the accent's from. So I was raised in England, in a family where my parents were very entrepreneurial. They had their own businesses, but also my parents were very fitness driven. My dad was always a coach. He coached professional athletes, anyone that wanted to do boxing, training, that was kind of his thing. So I grew up like around that environment. So I was always like super into like the body, working out. But then I was also majorly obsessed with like self-development and, personal development. So as I went through life, I got to a stage in life where I started to realize that certain patterns and relationships and things started, they were continuing to loop, right? When you get to that point where you're just like, why does this keep happening to me, right? Rather than for me. And that's where I got to in life. So my parents moved to America. So my dad's American, my mum's English. Well, my dad's Italian, but he grew up in America. My mum's English. He was in the Air Force. That's how I ended up being in England. So then they moved back over here to retire. And I was traveling back and forth for about 4 years. And I got to a point, like I said, in my life where I started to, things really started repeating a lot. And then my life just hit full collapse. I was in full-blown anxiety. I was taking medication. It wasn't helping. I was still working out, doing all these things. And I was like, man, my life just collapsed. So one day I woke up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So then I got on a plane with nothing but a suitcase, and I moved over here and had to start my life from zero, from scratch. It was the hardest time of my life. I was in such a dark place. Looking back, I'm like, wow, I never thought I was going to get out of that. And in doing that, being in my darkest time, I then discovered practicing yoga. And when I started to practice yoga, I started to realize very quickly how it was helping me regulate. It was helping me cope. And then when in practicing yoga, I was like, oh man, like I really need to share this with other people. I need to be able to help other people and guide other people get out of that dark space, because you can do it. When you're in it, you just think that you can't. And, hitting that full breaking point for me is what completely shifted and turned my life around. And then it started to grow from there. And then I just followed the breadcrumbs, yoga, psychology. I was studying, constantly, learning how the human body functions, like how the mind works. And, I just kept following the breadcrumbs. And then I started getting into studying neuroscience, neuroplasticity, nervous system work, real deep healing. I've tried everything. I'm one of those people that I've tried everything. You're like, there's a certain class, I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah, that's great though.
Yeah, that's the way we learn, right? Following, like you said, following those breadcrumbs, following life's signals and signs, and realizing that everything that we go through is always an opportunity for learning, for growth, for changing, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people may not understand that fully.
Yeah. And so everything that I teach has now come from living it first, not just studying it in theory, because there's a lot of knowledge out there, but I feel like unless you've truly lived it and embodied it, and I say it all the time when I teach in yoga classes or anything, I don't teach anything I don't do myself. I don't embody myself. And everything that I do is all lived experience. And, what a beautiful journey that's got me to this point that I once never would have thought it would have got me to this point.
Well, that's
because I really couldn't see my way out at the time.
That's it. Sometimes we can't see the top of the staircase from the bottom, right? Or the top of the mountain or the other side of the mountain until we're somewhat already up there. And you look back and you're like, holy shit, I did that, or I came from that and here I am now. And it's very empowering to sometimes look back at your story and your situation, your journey, and be able to be really proud of how far we've come, right? All of us, right? Any person who
absolutely
has gone through something in life, it's an opportunity. There was a quote, I actually put it in my book. There was a quote, grow through what you go through.
Yeah.
And to me, wow, that just like really hit me, because everybody's going to go through something in life where it's going to be disease or divorce or death or, just trauma or just an injury itself. Everybody goes through something, and you have two ways to look at it. You're either going to grow through it and you're going to take it on head on and you're going to accept it and move through it, or you are just going to keep suppressing all of those emotions and stay stuck and stay in the same person and same body and same mindset, recurring mindset that you were before.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. And I just feel like, we all experience stress. Everybody's gonna, the biggest problem in life is that people think they're not going to have problems. Right. And, once you understand, and, that's why I'm in the space that I'm in now, because I want to help people realize that the stress doesn't stop coming, but how we learn to move through that is what counts. And what we do in those moments and those times, that's where the mission then comes in, to be able to say, hey, listen, I walked through the fire so you don't have to. I'm giving you the shortcut.
Right.
Right. Because some people might not get to the dark place and turn around like you did. They might just keep on going. And from a medicinal or traditional medicine standpoint of view, the meds are just going to keep on piling on, because that's what doctors do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just masking the problem.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not getting down to the root.
The root.
Yeah.
Exactly. The learning and understanding how powerful our bodies are, that we can heal through these things.
Absolutely.
But it can't just be a physical healing. It can't just be where, let's just call it for cancer, because I'll always kind of go back to that, where the cancer is, right? Or in one specific situation in life that may have been very traumatic. There's a lot that kind of gets us to those moments of our darkest moments, whatever that is for each one of us, it's different. But to be able to understand that we have to heal on so many levels, not just physically,
the whole body,
but mentally, emotionally. And that's why I always talk about the mind, body, heart, soul healing, because all four of those, if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to heal through on all of those levels, we get back to homeostasis, back to harmony within our bodies, back into balance. So with that, let's talk about your amazing method. I have actually read through her booklet. She has got an e-booklet called, is it called the CIRA method, or what is?
It's called the Nervous System Reset.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So the Nervous System Reset, we'll drop the link in. If anybody wants to purchase it afterwards, we'll drop the link in the show notes. But why don't you give us a little bit more understanding about the method itself, the specific steps that people can start to do today, yesterday, I would say, but today, and then, just kind of breaking it down for people that really don't even know about the nervous system and the different components to the nervous system, if you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, just to keep it simple, I try to stay away from the science too much, because otherwise it, overwhelms people.
Sure.
The first thing that people have to understand is everything starts with the nervous system. You have to look at it like building a house. If you don't have safety as your foundation, everything that you build on top of that eventually is going to collapse. I work with all different types of people from all walks of life. And people think that if they're super successful and they have lots of money and they achieve all these great things, that they're not going to collapse. We hear about celebrities they talk about it all the time, that they've achieved everything in life and then they hit that point of collapse. Well, that's going to happen to most people at some point in your life. You're going to collapse, you're going to burn out, you're going to get overwhelmed. But instead, if you build safety in your nervous system first and you learn how to create that baseline, and I'm not talking about just regulating yourself, because that's different, because we regulate ourselves when we exercise, when we listen to music, when we do different things, meditation. But when you truly create safety as a baseline, which takes repetition and consistency, that's when things start to change. So the foundation is morning, nighttime, and you can learn more about this in detail if you download my Nervous System Reset method. But morning and nighttime are foundation. You have to start there. And I tell everybody, just start small. Morning, night, as short as you want it to be. Okay. And it's always returning back to yourself. And then if you can add in returning back, in the middle of the day, checking in. But the CIRA method itself, that's my big baby, right? That's the most important thing, because when you catch, interrupt, reframe, and anchor, we're talking about when you're in a trigger, when you're activated. That is the perfect neuroplastic window. Most people miss this part. So the reason how this came about is because, awareness alone is not going to change your emotional charges. Your anxiety is not going to settle. It's going to keep returning. It's going to keep coming back. These same emotional loops are going to keep returning. So once I studied and I understood why this keeps happening, you can't think your way out of a trigger. It's impossible. And most people try to go through the mind first. You have to change the physiology of the body. You have to change your state. So when you're in that activation window and you're in that trigger of when you're stressed, whenever you feel that activation,
yeah, like somebody
that is
cut you off, or your
yes,
spouse is pissing you off, or something happened in a store. Like it's
Road
those
rage.
moments. It's those moments that you become aware of it, like being able to notice, being more conscious about when those triggers are starting to come up for you.
exactly. And that does take time. But the more you create the safety as your baseline, your awareness then starts to grow. Okay. So then when you're able to catch the triggers, even if it's just a few times, that's when I really started to see, if you catch it, you interrupt it, you reframe it and anchor it. And again, you can learn more about this in my method. So you can really understand it. And when you read it, it does something different psychologically to you. But when you catch those triggers in that moment, that's when it is the perfect neuroplastic window that will then, over time, even sometimes when you do it once, sometimes it takes longer depending on how strong the loop is, the neuropathway is.
Yeah.
That's when you can really make lasting change. And, it reduces the intensity, it reduces the duration that you have that feeling. It stops the stress chemistry from escalating, because when we go into those triggered moments, our amygdala, a part of our brain, starts firing. It releases stress chemistry throughout our body, cortisol, adrenaline. That's what makes your heart beat faster. Your breath gets short. So most people in that moment, they want to logic their way out. They want to think their way out. They want to be like, okay, well, let me think about this. Let me analyze it. Let me over process it. It's not going to change a thing. That's top down. That's what I did for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I try and tell people, that, the short, you have to go through the body first. So you have to catch it. You have to interrupt it. And again, if you download my nervous system reset method, you'll get this in full detail. And that's when I started to do this. I remember the first few times, and I was like, I laid there, and I was like, and bearing in mind, I used to suffer so bad with anxiety. Like in my mind, outward, you would think I was fine, but internal, I was dying. And I remember the first time, and I just laid there, and I took a moment. I was like, I was in a really, really bad, like, anxiety flare, and my heart was racing, and you feel like you're dying, right? It's your threat. My threat detectors are going crazy. And I soothed myself. I regulated myself in that moment, in the trigger. And I remember lying there going, oh my God, this works. This works.
It's huge. It sounds almost like your anxiety triggered a panic attack, which is symptomatic of a heart attack.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you're not causing a heart attack, but you're having all those symptoms, like you're sweating, and you're clammy, you can't breathe, and it's hard for people to get out of that.
Wow. That's amazing. It really is so cool to listen how the body re-regulates itself, right? Yeah. At that moment, in whatever stress we're feeling, we really feel like our part of our nervous system, the sympathetic part of our nervous system, gets into that fight or flight, because it's the only job that part of our system is to keep us safe, is to keep us alive. But it doesn't know the difference if there's a bear running after us, or an alligator trying to get us because we're in Florida, or if somebody just cut us off, or somebody just pissed us off, right? Exactly. Our body doesn't know the difference. So it's important for us to recognize what is truly safety and what is truly like life or death harmful, and understanding that some of those things that we deem, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make enough money, or oh my gosh, the dog did this, or there's so many different examples I think that I can come through, but to recognize that, to say to our bodies, like, hey, just calm down for a second, right? Like, this isn't truly life or death. You're just getting irritated. And to be able to kind of use some of the beautiful tools that you have in the method are really, really helpful. I mean, and even just things like getting outside. Like you said, I took a few deep breaths, hand on heart, hand on belly, maybe a specific affirmation, or rocking the body. Just this gentle rocking is very soothing for our nervous system as well.
Yes, absolutely. And, what people have to understand as well is, like, your goal is never to erase the reaction. So our body is built so intelligently. Our survival mode works extremely well, right?
Too well sometimes.
But unfortunately, we're in a place where we're in sympathetic overdrive. We constantly live in that state. Nobody's exempt from this. Are there a few people out there that have been born into safety? Yes, but it's very few percentage. And we all have to keep returning our body to safety as much as we can. But when you do it, when you're triggered, most people can do it when they're calm, when they're not activated. But when you're activated, you do not want to do it. You don't want to do anything other than, externally regulate yourself, because that's what feels good. It gives you instant temporary relief rather than actually coming internal and catching, interrupting, reframing, and anchoring those triggers. And then that's what really creates that lasting change. That's what then changes everything. And some loops soften quickly. Others need more repetition and practice. And the more aware of this you become, you start to understand that regulation shifts the body first, and then the thinking will change after.
Mm-hmm. What's so interesting is our last episode, we talked about New Year's resolutions and helping all of our listeners sometimes get back on track or understand possibly why they are limiting themselves or stopping and getting in their own way, if you will. Right. And you, Marie, had mentioned this really beautiful vision and visualization of, imagine our brain, you'll say
it's just like going down a path. We're going down this nice path that's all perfect. And then we want to change the habit. So with anxiety, I know my triggers I can't stand it when my kitchen's dirty. And I have to, it makes me nuts. So I have to just break it down piece by piece. But it's so easy to just go into that moment of stress, anxiety. And like you said, I'm releasing all these things, the cortisol, gosh, who knows what, wreaking havoc on my gut health. But to make a change, you now have to turn a left in your brain, and it's going down this overgrown path with brambles and briars, and you have to just chop through it.
Right. And I think that's the rewiring, right? Is the consistency of recognizing your trigger or recognizing where your blockage is, where you're self-sabotaging yourself, right? And then taking a moment to interrupt it and then reframe it, right? In your mind, maybe an affirmation or a mantra or a different thought, and then actually anchoring or taking action, right? And we've literally talked all about this last episode. And this is why I feel the work that you do in the world is not only amazing for absolutely everybody, but we're obviously looking at our community, right? And all of our listeners that are going to listen to us in the future. I really wanted you to come on first to help in that anchoring, to help all of our listeners create this foundation of safety and support and grounding and feeling connected. And the nervous system is so essential in that. So I'm so glad that you're our first guest, and it's so exciting. But because your work in the world and how you teach it is so easy, and I say easy in the way that it's easy to grasp, it's simple. But is it easy for us to do? That depends on the person. That depends on how far deep down are those triggers and stuff like that. How overgrown is their
workout.
Yeah, exactly. The tools and the method is simple. Where it becomes more challenging is, I would say the biggest thing, and this is where I come into more of my courses and my one-on-one coaching and stuff like that, is people struggle with consistency. Because unfortunately, until you create more safety in your body, the mind always wants validation. It always wants certainty. It always wants to know what the end goal is. What am I going to achieve here? And when it doesn't have that instantly, we place no value on it. So I can say, all day long, safety changes everything. But until people actually believe it and see it, they think, oh, well, it doesn't, I don't know about that. Let me just go out and hustle some more and make some more money.
Well, I think the idea and the definition of what safety is for a lot of people is, well, I mean, I'm not going to die. I don't have a,
Yes.
somebody running after me or a bear running after me. Or so the little things where what we deem as safe and what our nervous system deems as safe is very different.
Yeah. And the majority of people don't even know that they're in survival until I say, bring up certain things like, well, how's your sleep? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? How quickly do you respond? Do you react from situations? How easily do you handle stress? These different things are what determine how safe your nervous system is feeling. When people are stuck, they're stagnant, they, even if they, like I said, are multi-millionaires, they still get to a point where they're like, oh, I can't move any further, or I have no inner peace. They're all symptoms of not having safety in your body, in your nervous system. And it does take a little while to understand that, but this is something that everybody should be practicing, regardless of whether you think that you have safety or you don't. Just do it anyway. Because it makes a difference regardless of where you're at, so yeah, definitely would completely agree with that. Most people do not even know what that means.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
So Christy, I work with a lot of women, perimenopause and menopause, which is a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
So I just want your input on how hormone dysregulation through stress, anxiety really messes up that whole nervous system, and what you offer your clients that you work with as far as advice for getting their hormones back on track.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, obviously I can't speak from a place of going through menopause because I'm not there yet. I say yet because obviously it is coming one day. But what I can do is I can explain how, when we're living in a constant state of survival, we are releasing that cortisol, that adrenaline. And listen, it's not that those chemicals are bad. We do need them, right? But when you're in a state of constantly releasing them more than what we should, it takes a toll on your hormones. That takes a toll on your vessel, your overall recovery, which then can lead into more problems as you do age. Because if you think of the period of your life that you have spent releasing the majority of those chemicals, they fire as soon as we wake up, right? Your cortisol and adrenaline, that's your morning alarm clock. And if you don't shift your state in the morning and come back to that regulated state and continue to do that throughout your day, you're staying with those chemicals in your body for longer. So then that in turn over time can lead to autoimmune cancers, all different types of stuff, which then in turn can make, menopause more difficult to go through because your body's already out of whack, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what people don't realize is regulating yourself and constantly returning your body back to safety as much as you can. You're regulating your hormones. You're giving your body chance to recover. You're saying, hey, let me shut down this system and come home. And that alone, even for men, they need it. Women need more being than doing, and men need more doing than being. But we all need to shut ourselves down and come home to ourselves. That's healing. And that's
what's so cool about that is, hello, it's free, right? Like most things that we can regulate our nervous system with are free. Breath work, movement, sunlight, nature, community, like all of these things help to regulate our nervous system, but it's just a matter of actually doing it. And I think so many, and I'll speak for most Americans, is like they wait until they're sick.
Yeah.
We wait until we're sick or depressed or whatever it is that you're experiencing. We wait for it, then we fix it. How about we take a proactive approach
instead of reactive?
Exactly. And 'cause I don't even like the word preventative. Like I don't even use the word prevention really anymore because I don't think we can fully prevent anything. But a proactive approach to our health and our well-being, I feel like starts in the nervous system.
But I think you hit it on the money. There is no money in that.
Right. Exactly.
But that,
always go back to that.
unfortunately, that is the problem, right?
Yeah.
Because we live in a world where we're so conditioned to believe that things only have value if they're scarce.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like the breath that we take every day, the fact that our heart beats when we wake up, we place no value on that because it comes free. We know there's another breath coming. And, it's the same with, even my method. I tell people, listen, I'm basically giving it away for free. This is so valuable.
Yeah, it is.
But people don't place if I just gave it for free, they would place no value on it again, right? But because we have these tools that are freely available to us, people are like, oh, well, why would I do that? I'd rather spend $10,000 on a course that's going to give me loads of knowledge and insight and change nothing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have to move past that. You have to realize that everything you need is already within you.
Yeah.
And you are your most valuable
Everything
asset.
you need is already within you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotta write that down.
Oh yeah, write that one down. Definitely. It's so true.
It's so true.
But we want to always look outside of ourselves for the answers. Correct. We're going to go ask our friends. We're going to go ask the doctors. Right. We're going to go, ask for pills and get the Band-Aids and all of the things rather than stopping and pausing and be like, what do we really, really need? And most of the time it is within us. I'm not going to say that, yes, sometimes we definitely need doctors and all this stuff. We're not trying to say that, but we do need, we do have it within us, I should say.
Yes, you
and
do.
One thing that you put in the book too is nervous system heals through repetition and felt experience.
Yes.
I love the felt experience addition to that, because if you don't feel something in your body, then you're just thinking it.
Exactly.
If you don't feel it, like I feel back pain. If I'm really feeling, like if I'm just thinking, oh my God, my back hurts so bad, my back hurts so bad, my back hurts so bad, guess what? My freaking back's going to hurt so bad. Right. But if I take a moment and I pause and I like explore and I navigate throughout my body with just like my feeling into my body, that is when we really understand what we're feeling. That's how our body communicates to us, not the mind to the body parts, but the body specifically to the mind. And that's why I don't love mind-body connection. It really should be body-mind connection.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what it is, and that's the thing, I could explain on here. I can give you step by step how to do it. Number one, you have to read it because of how it, your brain processes. And number two, unless you feel it and do it, the knowledge is absolutely nothing. You have to feel it. And that's the difference of, most people don't want to feel, right? They don't want to sit in that uncomfortable. They just want a quick fix. Let me get out of it. And that's when you externally regulate, because, to actually sit there and go, wait, let me pause for a minute. Let me catch this, interrupt it, and actually sit with that feeling. You're going to be like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Yeah. Doesn't feel good. Is it going to go away? Oh my God.
So I have something very interesting that's so in alignment with this. There was a book that I'm reading. I think it's called Heal Your Back Pain. Dr. John Sarno was the author. This was a doctor back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. He's no longer with us, but he wrote this amazing book. And it's not necessarily about back pain, right? He goes into what he calls TMS, and I probably won't do it justice, so don't fully quote me on this, but TMS, it's tension myositis syndrome, I think. It's all about the mind-body connection and how, yes, like right now, I've got some things going on in my neck. I can feel it, but the more I think about it, the more it causes pain. Right. So with TMS, he goes into understanding the difference of what stress versus tension is. And while we all kind of think of them as being the same thing, they're actually different. Stress is more external, right? Yeah. Stress from a job, stress from trauma, stress from disease. Tension is the way that our mind speaks to the body and the body to the mind. It's how we actually experience it in the body. And it's always caused by repressed emotions. I was like, wow.
And then do we hold it?
And then we hold it.
Hold it.
And what he said, and this, I reread it today because again, what's going on my back, I thought, let me just reread this. And he said, our mind would rather us feel pain than feel emotion. Mm-hmm. And that's why it triggers the pain to certain areas. It's not to say that, yes, bulging disc, herniated disc, all of that's still occurring. I'm not discounting that. But our brain would rather feel that pain triggering out to those areas rather than feel the emotion, which is fascinating to me. Yeah. It's all about regulating the nervous system too, and letting those emotions up and out. And you can only really do that. I shouldn't say you can only do that from a regulated nervous system. You have to give yourself permission to feel. Yeah. And that
is hard
for
a lot of people.
Right. Because a lot of people feel unsafe. Mm-hmm. What is, let me ask the both of you, what is an emotion that you suppress, that you don't allow yourself to feel, or you don't experience enough? So maybe subconsciously you're trying not to feel it.
I think the number one thing in my experience is fear. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of people just are afraid. Everything comes down to being fearful of something and not enough, right? Not enough. We always fear that we're not enough. Like it's our biggest thing. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that, and it comes up a lot. And, and not just like back to what you were saying as well before, is a lot of people, when they feel that emotion, they don't know what to do in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's also, fear is very much tied to our self-worth, right? So if they're fearful of not being enough, or fearful of making a bad choice, or not looking the part, or whatever it is, it boils down to their self-worth and confidence and doubt. And it's all tied to fear. So in that case, it's like we have to be one with the fear, right? We have to accept it, because fear is in every single person's life. So you got to kind of like learn to love it and to appreciate it a little bit, because it's always going to be there. But then kind of through a lot of the work that you do and that method of just like reframing. No, I am good enough to start a podcast. No, I am good enough to go out on my own and, and say no things, right? It just doesn't matter. Whatever the situation is, we all are good enough to look past the fear, to not let fear interrupt it. Mm-hmm. Mine is anger.
I was going to say mine's anger.
Is it?
And I actually got mad a couple weekends ago, and I don't get mad much. And in fact, I'll just let it out there.
Let's do it.
I have a lot of things going on, and me and my husband got in an argument, and I can count on one hand how many times we fight in a year. We've been married for 20 years. So we probably have a good one once a year, and then a couple little bickering, but I was mad and I was not budging. And it was awful. It took the life out of me for 3 days after we made up. We were mad for like 24 hours.
Right.
But I was like, this isn't worth it. I don't like being angry. I really don't. I will position myself around situations I notice with friends or family to not deal with that anger. And I'm always just like, roll it over my shoulder. I don't know if that's good or bad, but when it comes out, it's like fire.
No, I think personally, we all need to still release anger. Now, is it releasing like you want to go punch him in the face? No, I'm not saying that's a negative.
You don't want to be reactive.
Right. But letting out rage and aggressiveness and anger, like in a punching bag or a kickboxing class or something like that, or screaming, like kind of really letting it out, like in your arm or in a pillow, to still be able to release it. I know for me, and my personal story was, I grew up in a home that my father would get angry a lot and scream a lot. And so I didn't want to be like him in that manner. And I also didn't associate good with that. Right. So for me, anger means really bad stuff, or I'm a bad girl for doing something. So for me, anger is like, I totally definitely suppress it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I've told you this story, but I think I told you this, Christy, when we were at lunch one day. When I was going through chemo, there was a time where my best friend realized that I was not expressing anger. And she goes, when was the last time you got angry? And I'm like, I don't know, Trey. I don't know. I'm just, I'm fine. I'm working through it. And she just sparked something in me. And I was sitting outside one day and I was really just angry about my situation and the cancer and all. And I'm like, what is going on? How did this happen? And I couldn't really scream. And I didn't want to scream because I had my port in and I really felt like if I screamed too hard, it might fall out. And I know that can't happen, but
Shoot out like the pressure.
Right. I was like, what was in my mind? And so I was just sitting there, closing my eyes, taking those big, beautiful, deep diaphragmatic breaths to help regulate my nervous system and create that vagal turn, just activate my vagus nerve, which is very much associated with the nervous system.
Yes.
And I started visualizing every exhale I would do, these black crows literally leaving my body, like a Halloween movie. It was insane. And after doing that probably like 3 times and this really powerful exhale, I was like, that was literally anger leaving my body. So it doesn't always have to look like punching or screaming or this or that. Like just see that darkness of what anger maybe could represent in your body, see it leaving your body, maybe with breath or with movement.
This reminds me of my undergrad when we read a study on doctors that went in with people that had like cancer patients, right? And they had them do this visualization of their cells as like soldiers in the body, killing the cancer.
Oh, wow.
And the results were actually amazing.
I could see that. Visualization is a huge, powerful tool too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's all like, there's so many tools that we can use, right? But I believe that becomes part of the problem, as people, like I said, they don't know what to do. They're like, well, when you get further along your journey and the more awareness you create in your body, like, because we've been practicing this for years, we're able to go, okay, this needs me to go and have a hard workout, or this needs me to go and sit and breathe, and this needs for me to take this action. That's more advanced nervous system awareness, right? It takes time. I want people to understand that most people will go, well, I don't know what to do in the moment.
It's not a flip of a switch where you just like,
integrate it. For us, it just comes natural, right? We're there, we know, we listen to our bodies, but most people don't even have that self-awareness to begin with. And that's why my method is so simple, so easy for anybody to follow. So it gives you the exact thing that you can go, okay, well, I can do this, right? I can do this twice a day, morning and night, and I can interrupt my triggers because I know what to do. And that's why I created it that way. So anybody will not feel overwhelmed or go, okay, well, am I meant to breathe here? Am I meant to shake here? Am I meant to go work out? Because I feel like
that takes intuition to intuitively understand, what do I need right here, right now? That takes time. That is not a flip of a switch. It's not, one day you're just going to wake up intuitive, right? It's constantly practicing the work, constantly showing up for yourself day in and day out. And with your method, you make it very easy with simple tools, how you can show up for yourself every day, morning and night. And then you start to create these it becomes a ritual, and you start to create this every day, where when you don't do it, it's interesting. Our bodies actually crave it. Our body's like, wait a minute, I didn't get to do this today. Right.
Yes.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this was such a beautiful conversation and such beautiful inspiration, hopefully, for our whole listening community. Christy, you are such a joy. You are such a beautiful light in this world. So I want you to keep shining that light. And at the end of every one of our episodes, we like to ask a question. But now, because you're our first guest, why don't you ask us a question? And anything that comes to mind. Like hers was, what did you learn this week?
What did you learn this week?
Mine's like, what did you feel this week? Just anything
something
simple.
Basic.
Oh, let me think. What would I like to ask? What I would say, what is your one go-to thing every day that you can't live without.
Coffee.
You said caffeine.
In the morning.
Yes.
And then just kidding.
Yes, I do love my coffee too.
I look forward to it. Sometimes I go to bed at night and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for my coffee in the
it's
morning.
like celebratory. I mean, right now we're drinking tea, but yeah.
Caramel tea.
So coffee is yours?
Coffee's 100%.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely like kind of like the first thing, even though I do water before my coffee. But I do almost every day some sort of lymphatic drainage practices.
We had this conversation.
Yeah. Just going through my 6 points or getting on my vibrational plate or going for a walk.
Hers is so much better than my answer.
I mean, I have a lot. I love to journal too. So that's sometimes, but I don't do that every day.
I do read every day.
I don't do that every day.
Boring.
I gotta say, lymphatic work, I really do try to do every day. And it doesn't always look the same. So we'll do a show on the lymphatic health and lymphatic system at some point, because that's also another system that needs to be out there more mainstream for a lot of people, because it's simple. It's very simple.
It's just super important for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
I love it. And, I think it's important for people to understand the different, like you said, these are more tools that we can add. And, not that you want to give people like a huge to-do list, but you've got to find what works for you. And I think that that's one of those things that's really important to, potentially add into your day. Even if it's just a little bit of something. I jump up and down on my trampoline or,
rebounding.
Just different things that just help with that. And I think that, those subjects are so important for people to understand, like how it works, and what it does. And, like you said, that all these things are free.
Yeah.
They're free.
It's just loving yourself enough to show up for yourself and do one small thing for yourself, if not more, right?
Yeah.
If we can just all do one thing for ourselves, no matter if you're a brand new mom or older going through menopause, right? Find some time for yourself. You are worthy of it, right? Whether it's the nervous system stuff or breath. Or
And the morning is, if I could say one thing to anybody out there, it would be shift your state in the morning, because it sets the tone for the rest of the day.
For sure.
And that is like the number one thing that, has been studied through science. All the greats talk about it. Yet the first thing most people do when they wake up is pick up their phone. Like, no, don't do it.
Right. If we could kind of stop ourselves in that, right? Interrupt that instead of going to grab the phone, put one hand on heart, one hand on belly, take a few deep breaths, maybe a good affirmation to visualize how you want your day to go and what all you want to experience and how you want to feel. And then start your day. Yeah. And we start from a place of love.
Yeah. And or even if it's just gratitude, even if it's just lying there and just being grateful for, just like I say to people, just go from head to toe. I'm grateful for my hair, my brain, my heart, my breath. Like, before you know it, the smile comes upon your face and you're like, wow. And then you're waking up and you're like, oh, now I'm in a state of gratitude. And before you know it, oh, you've created safety, you've regulated, you've done all these things that can only
get out of bed yet.
Yeah. And you haven't even got out of bed yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can enter the world and,
love yourself.
Take it on.
Right? Because when we radiate love and gratitude and this sense of peace within, it shows, and people
they want that.
Are magnetized by it. They do. And how many times that I've had this conversation with a good friend of mine, how many times do you actually put yourself together? You put the makeup on, your hair's done, you put on cute clothes, not just like the workout clothes, and you're out running errands or whatever. How many compliments does one get? I swear every time I get at least one compliment of another woman saying, I love your outfit or this, which I love. I'm a big proponent of that, just giving other women compliments and making them feel good. And because it ripples out.
Yeah.
So,
because you got to think, most people are just spending so much time living in their head.
Yeah.
That's where everybody is. They live in their head constantly. And when you come back to yourself in the morning, especially, you're getting into your body, and people don't realize that. Like, I call it like the monkey mind, right? Yeah. We're just constantly living up here. We're not in the present moment. If you're not into your body, you're not in the present moment. Your mind is on the future, predictable future, your to-do list, or it's on the past. You've got all this mental noise. You replay conversations, right? How many times have we sat there and replayed the same conversation over and over again in our head? And it's like, you've got to have presence. You've got to keep coming back to the body in that embodiment. And, you know, and that is regulation, just softening yourself throughout the day. Like, just pause and be like, okay, my body's tense right now. Let me relax my shoulders down. Let me take a long exhale. Let me continue to soften throughout the day, keep returning to that present moment into the physical body. And then, you know, in turn, your prefrontal cortex in your brain comes back online. That creates more clarity, more focus. You know, people say all the time, oh, I'm clumsy. And I'm like, well, you're probably just not in the present moment, right? We're not aware. Mm-hmm. But the more you keep returning back to yourself, that all then switches on. And then you have, you know, more space to create, to have this joy, to just be clearer in, you know, what your intention is for your day.
And to experience life and to be with what is going on right here, right now. I mean, we'll never have this exact moment back ever again with the three of us sitting here, drinking what we're drinking, wearing what we're wearing, being, you know, talking about what we're talking about. And so there is this just reminder that we have to be fully present and conscious and aware and be here in everything that we do. Try not to get into the mind and just be more present is a huge thing.
It's beautiful. It's the only place where life truly exists.
That's right.
Is in that present moment.
Yeah. Thank you, Christy. This is wonderful.
You're so welcome.
Yay.
I know we could talk for hours, right?
We could talk for hours.
We could.
I have a feeling this may not be the last time you're on the show. Just saying. You might be a resident regular.
I would love to be.
Well, thank you so much again. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Below in the show notes will be Christy's contact information and how you can access her nervous system reset method and follow her on her social media. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.